I can see why people are interested in this, because if you look on here at the bottom of the screen, we can see March 15th, March 22nd. So, this is every week, right? So it's basically been now a week and a half that we've had this, a month and a half, sorry, that we've had Safemoon. And you can see if I put my cursor here at the beginning, you're going to see the price. How many zeros? It's 0.000000001. Sorry, I can't help it. If it goes to 1 penny, you're filthy rich. Retired at a penny. It's like move it over the same amount of zeros, you have $1 million, right? So past performance not indicator of future results, no guarantees here. And yes, this is basically I could just use this chart as a definition of a pump and dump, like Ed mentioned. It basically gets the hype around here. Or no, the early adopters, the organizers get in here. The early people, the friends of the organizers get in here, and then their friends get in here, and then the distribution forums, the ones that are the free discussion forums online, you see 70% of people are beginners, completely don't know what they're doing. 30% are pump and dumpers. They're actually paid or pumping their own coin to push up the price from 0.0000001 all the way up to just 4 zeros from 8 zeros, right? So they make a ton of money, and you just move over your decimal place 3-4 times, you can make $1 turn into 1,000. So the sad part is most people get in here and they lose most of their money. So that is a pump and dump, same as penny stocks, some of the altcoins, and you're just looking for what is you don't want to time this. You never want to be the guy that tries to say, okay, I'll write it a little bit up. You missed the boat basically. So don't try to chase this little profit here at the top, because you're looking to make a little bit or lose a lot potentially. So at this point, you could see a little bounce and then continue lower, but that's nothing that you want to be participating in. There's so many coins that you can choose from that actually have charts that make sense, that you can actually draw conclusions from. My guess is as good as your guess on this one, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay, so don't get upset at me if this goes to $10 million, right? But I don't think Safemoon. Now, I will say this. I took the liberty of watching a video of 4 guys that work for this company. And all I did was, I watched how they talk, what they say, how they present themselves, how organized are they? Would that be someone I would invest at $10 million if I had $10 million to invest into a coin? And, what kind of vibes did they put off? Are they experienced? I got a lot of, similarities with, there was a CEO, there was a COO, and the guy that was doing all the work he said the correct thing. He says, I'm taking on as much workload as I possibly can. Reminds me of Ed. He's always out and about trying to gather as much information as possible so that he can provide the most possible value to the community, and even myself, right? So they do have things on that they have pluses, but I also saw a couple minuses in terms of my points for just I guess not discriminating, but just I didn't get the perception that they're capable of taking the coin to high amounts and then still keeping true to their roots, kind of thing. So anyway, when you have something go up like crazy, there's always a chance that they can dump it, right, and move on to the next thing. How do you know they're going to stay blood, sweat, and tears into that project, right? So that's just human nature. So yeah, this is what, like a sharp gain here in just the 6 weeks. That's way too much. You guys know I always say on any chart, if it goes up fast, then it can come down fast. If it goes up slow, it can come down. It's a more of a solid foundation. So I don't like to see those things. And yes, I understand there are trend traders, and I do that too sometimes, but most of the time not. Let me see here. We've got a couple coins that we want to cover here. I'm just going to go into the charts right now. So we'll look at those. I have a new one here. AAVE, Safemoon, Binance Coin. I have all of those. Okay, Link is interesting. It's a platform that actually Dot is actually on the Link platform, so it's interesting. Okay, so I'm just gonna hide the poll here. Perfect. So Safemoon, it's like I don't even think it has a symbol that I can look up. It's so young. Is it even trading on
I think
any
it's Safemoon, the whole word.
safe? I don't know. Let's try it. Okay. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna pull up um, TradingView is a free website you can pull up, and we're gonna go not the beginner. Okay, first of all, you see like these a lot of these crypto websites, they just have a line chart that doesn't even tell you anything. It's decent enough for people that are saying, I don't need to trade, right? So, a lot of people, they'll just be like hodl only, and that's all they do, and that's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, that sounds to me a little bit boring, just staring at the wall waiting for paint to dry, right? When you could be researching when to get in, when to get out, when to be on the sidelines, when to swap your coins and participate in shuffling around, moving around, staying one head ahead of the curve, right? So let's see if we can pull up here not a line chart like this on TradingView, which is a free platform. Let's go full feature chart, and even the free version does give you 3 indicators. Okay, so you can actually. I was just doing some stock trading actually today because I'm today was the first day of a trading competition I participated in. So there was. Let me pull this out. Let's go to one chart and let's look at cryptos because I trade everything. I trade the stocks, options, commodities, futures, options, forex, crypto. This happens to be currencies because it's important to know what the value of money is so that you know what you're measuring with. It's kind of a big deal. So you can see even on the 1 minute chart right now, this is like moving in a predictable fashion, like a roller coaster. You can get in and out, in and out, in and out, make a decent amount of money with this. So, but let's get into our cryptos. I'm gonna look at these ones. I also have. Let's go by net by. Let's actually do cryptos by market cap. The biggest ones first, right? So we got 53,000. I swear I was saying 53,000 last week. I'm not sure if it was on my class or was it for you guys. Um, let's zoom out from the 1 minute. By the way, the 1 minute chart, you see this dive. This is just in the last since we began talking this event today. So it's gone from 54 and a half down to 52,700 while we commenced this event 20 minutes ago, basically. So let's zoom out. Let's see, is that a buying opportunity? And indeed, you can see um, these lines up here. That's the Bollinger Band at the top, and that's the Bollinger Band at the bottom. And there's the middle band. So we could easily bounce since we're below that lower Bollinger Band right this particular second is a possibility that this could bounce back up into the Bollinger Band. That's almost very certain when that happens. And then even go back up to the middle, which would be 54,000. That's a $1,250 jump right there that could happen by the time I in 2 minutes. So let's have a look more details here. All of those moving averages here are up here pulling it up like a magnet also. I should have used the green arrow since that would make more sense. Definitely this is bullish at this current particular second. I'm just saying that because, by the way, this does count as a cup and handle too with the very big handle. So we could see even 56,000 again just because of that. Um, but yeah, let's get into some more details. So let's zoom out and let's get some indicators here. So we can see how I will do this. I'll look at this major bottom and this major bottom and connect the dots. And if I replicate that, we can see that the price should be here, 54,000, which agrees with my target. So I'm really surprised if it doesn't go right now up 1,100. I'm only showing this on the 1 minute chart, or this is the 15-minute chart. So this might take actually an hour or two. Okay, but we were on the 1 minute chart and we saw that there's a green candle right now as we speak rising. Okay, we've got this indicator pointing up, a fresh cross happening, which counts as the red line being crossed over by the blue line. The blue line is the main one, and you can see that that's called a fresh cross, and we're maybe about to draw one right now, which is bullish. And we have a decent sized green candle. Next candle just started. We'll see if it's also going to be a green candle now that we're in the middle of the Bollinger Band on the 1 minute. But on the 15 minute, meaning every candle is worth 15 minutes, we're still at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. I'll go back from 1 minute to 15 minute. You'll see we're still at the lower Bollinger Band. Still, I'm bullish. We may perhaps get this similar thing happening here. Okay, not necessarily all the way to the top, but a nice bounce is due currently as we speak. So why not mention it, right? Bitcoin, let's go to the 1 hour. Let me see. I got to get rid of some of these colors, but daily. Okay, so we've had here a cup and handle, right? And a Fibonacci. Look at that. It's just following this line down. I drew this line earlier on a shorter time frame. And it's continuing that trend. So it's rejected it twice, meaning the price is going up. It rejected that trend line. Now, if we get that move I'm expecting we're going to retest that black line again. You can see here I've seen where the volume is, where the price likes to hang out, and indeed it's doing that again. I expect that to perhaps penetrate this black line. Why? Because even if the price were to go sideways, it by definition has to go across that line, at which time it can shoot up like crazy. And what I'm going to be looking for is this upside down head and shoulders. If this can go up, down, penetrate, down, we've got our formation here, and that can shoot up quite a bit to 58,000 again. So that's Bitcoin. It's got a strong support here currently. This is important. I'm talking about Bitcoin a lot because if we can keep Bitcoin above this green line, which it just fell below, then that would be bullish. If it stays below that line, it becomes terribly bearish and all the sellers come in like a wave. So it's the moment of truth. So what you want to be doing here is taking a position here, selling if you were using this for education, and going here and buying. So at this particular moment, you're playing with fire, and just be aware of that. But let's zoom back in from the 1 hour to the more detailed 15 minute to see which one it's choosing. We are getting that green candle that we mentioned on the 15 minute right along the lower Bollinger Band. So what I'm saying is if the Bollinger Band even were to continue lower, the worst case scenario is pretty much sideways. You know what I'm saying? Before it can have another drop or up to the middle. So at this particular moment, you're much safer that it's going to go up and the green candle is rising as I'm saying that, than being up here that it can go down to the middle. So we're in a good position right this second. If you're hodling, then this would not be the making sense to dump it just because I've seen it drop for 20 minutes. Okay, you will get trend traders that will say, here's the trend though, right? So I'm going to say, let's see that line. I'm actually going to draw also, let's make that red. And we have a fan shape. So we have here another widening line. Okay, so I will draw a third one in the middle. So we have some sort of a target to look at where I will maybe take some profit. Now, if we can remember, that green line is crucial because of here. It's the very bottom of this wick. It's the very bottom of this candle. So this is a crucial green line. This is going to give you the green light, and we're just crossing it. And as I was bringing it up, to say we need to get up back over it, and we're back over it. So that's a good sign. Congratulations to the Bulls. I have to now give up on the Bears and start heading back to the bull camp, meaning it's going to go up, right? So, yeah, that's good news. And if I go back to the 1 minute, just to show you what we had talked about, this is why I decided to abort mission talking about Safemoon and just stick with this because I saw the opportunity the second it was happening. And there you go, right from 52.7, we are now already back up to $53,450. Now that may not seem like much, $750 up. However, you know, just like most people are not even trading, they're just hodling and looking at the paint dry. They're not participating, profiting in the downward direction. They're not participating, profiting in the upward direction. Whoever's not trading is missing out. Whoever's trading and not understanding how to safely and properly use a little bit of leverage to their advantage while doing it safely and protecting themselves with having a stop loss that can be moved up to lock in break even, and then they have a risk-free trade at that point. Now they can either watch Bitcoin go up 5,000, 10,000, or even just 1,000, but they can't lose on this trade now, even if it were to drop like a rock. So that's how you can actually, combining stop losses with leverage is a very powerful tool because you maximize the profits 100 times, but your downside can be still zero if you do it smart and you practice in a demo account first and you have a proper education and mentor to show you how to do that. This is something that is just as bad to avoid than not trading at all, pretty much. So that is cool that we can see it's now gone back to up to this middle line of this fan, that we can see just how many times it likes to go back to the middle, right? So we see the top, it hit it once, twice, pretty much, 3 times, 4 times. The bottom, it hit it once, twice, 3 times. That already allowed us to draw the entire fan. That predicted the next fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth bottom, where I saw that we can buy that, and boom, we're straight back to the middle, because in the middle is where it likes to revert back to as the path of least resistance, like water. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30 times in the middle versus just 4 at the top and maybe 8 at the bottom. So the middle is the path of least resistance. And guess what? We're almost there right now. And we are above this green line. Let's see if it can hold that. When we have the lower indicators, we can look at now having to take a breather because they did a good job, but they need to take a break. While that declines, as long as we can go sideways or a little bit down, that's good enough. So if the next ensuing move higher on the stochastic, I'm looking particularly, then that can push it back even higher and convincingly stay there. And yeah, we can see that this could be the beginning of an uptrend if we get that upside down head and shoulder that I mentioned. So let's move on. Let's switch this a bit. Let's go to another coin, because another pairing with Bitcoin sometimes can confirm the Bitcoin chart is looking at a second chart, which is in this particular case Ethereum, right? So we got the same exact indicator on the 1 minute. It's got to come down to be able to come back up, but you can see that it's still making a solid, perhaps higher highs, higher lows, higher highs going forward here for the next few minutes. But let's zoom out for some more meaningful charts, because I treat the 1 minute chart kind of like the baby. Whatever the baby cries about doesn't always get. It's the 5-year-old, which is the 5 minute chart, that decides what the baby gets. And here is the trend line, boom, that I notice. I'm going to clone it right away, and draw a second one, because this may indicate a channel. And yes, it does perfectly indicate a channel. Let's do another line in the middle, because that's my favorite place for it to perhaps revert back to. And it's doing that as we speak. We're slightly below that line, so it's still slightly more bullish, however, becoming neutral as at this moment. So regarding the 5-year-old, let's now move to the parent, which is the 15-minute, and see more details. So now we can draw some other stuff. We can put a horizontal line up here and have an idea where the target would be to the top. We're looking at 2,547, give or take, and also the bottom down here. So we can also do another channel here, halfway. which is here. So that's slightly bearish. Not terribly bearish though. It's to be expected. So this is quite a neutral chart. Let's move to what the grandparent says, because at the end of the day, the grandparent is the decision maker if you're going to the zoo or not. So we can see we had a trend line here. It bounced off of, broke through, commenced a downtrend. Right now we've got a double or triple bottom and started an uptrend again. So now we can see the higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. I would not be surprised we make another higher high, and also happens to be simultaneously testing the uptrend of this upper uptrending channel, the resistance, the top red line, and also the top red line of the sideways trending channel simultaneously. So I would not be surprised we get to that level. Breaking above it is a whole different story, but getting there would not surprise me one bit. So we cannot leave 2,547 off the table, which is still another $30 higher, $35 higher from here for Ethereum. This is somewhat neutral though, neutral. And this is now the divergence has been completed. So nothing special, nothing to buy or sell at that grandparent. Let's look what the great grandparent says. Okay, so we can see that this is starting to be looking like a little bit too high. So we can see Ethereum now, it's gone up, down, made a nice head shape, nice shoulder shape, which continues to be below that height of the head, which is intact head and shoulders potentially. And now we can see that this neckline is here. So we could easily drop down to 2150 before we have that neckline tested. Failing which, if we break below 2150, my target becomes 1800 because that's the height of the head. So keep that crucial level in mind, 2150 over the next week until we meet again. But let's see what the daily chart shows. Okay, too many lines I have. Never mind. So, but yeah, so that's got to be cautious long term. But again, that doesn't mean you can't make money in the short term. Even this one looks like we're kind of at the middle, so we could a little bit cool off here. So nothing special. USDT, nothing special. Binance Coin was on the list. Someone asked about. Let's see, and in the chat if there's anything question wise. We've got a solid bottom here, and I guess that should be green. And then we've got another trend line here, a little bit lower. So we're going to be participating there. So it's looking like this may drop down a little bit right this particular moment. 1 minute, but let's zoom out to a meaningful time period. Okay, so this is interesting. We got we tested this double top. So we have where can you learn more from you? You guys will be able to at the end of the meeting get an update on next week. I'm doing a presentation on how to trade for a masterclass, and that's where you can learn more. And I'll also give you a way you can contact me too. Stick around to the end of the meeting. Unless Ed, you want to type it in. So, and then here, I got my Calendly link. So yeah, this looks like we're going to be going in here and staying in here, but it will run out of room and has to make a choice. Big decision time. If it can break a new high, that's extremely bullish. That will, think of it this way. Picture a war going on right now, and this is the horizontal line it needs to penetrate. You can see to a T, it fails to penetrate. So let's put a black line. So what happened is this is where I determined where to put it. And look at that. On the dot, you could have taken profit there on Binance Coin and came back down. So if this were to retest that line and fail, retest that line and fail, every time it does that, it's taking away some of the sellers. Taking away some of the sellers. Taking away some of the sellers. Eventually, you run out of sellers. What happens then? Boom, skyrocket. And I guess then I could agree for the first time that the word going to the moon sort of makes sense. But it's not a term that is used in any other trading other than crypto trading. We do also have a beautiful support here on this trend line here. So, higher highs, as long as that remains going higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, then that looks pretty good that we're going to retest that and see what happens if it can break that. If it falls below the red line, then yeah, it can come nicely down. So we got to be careful there. It could also come down to 440. I would say I'm not giving up hope for the bulls here. It is also a platform. So as more people get into crypto, they are going by definition to Binance. It seems to be the most popular at this time. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it would make sense to use Binance coins to use Binance. Cardano, interesting. We got a lot of wedges going on. So what I'm going to do is just quickly not spend time here, but show you. I'm looking at the peak that catches my eye, the second peak that catches my eye, the third and fourth peak that catches my eye. I look at both tops, connect them, and bottoms and connect them. And as we can see, if I connect all of those, what I'm going to do is get my future target. How far up can it go before it has some difficulty in the future? So it gives you hints where to take profit. Here too, where to take profit. And if it can go higher than that, then you can start buying again and probably reach that level again here because that's where it reached before and before. So that's how I get sort of targets. We also have another horizontal line I have to put in because it's bugging me not having it right there. Okay, so we have an idea of where's the range. I don't like to trade anything in here that it can go up just as much as it can go down. I like to be a buyer of $50 t-shirts, but only when they're on sale for $20. I'll buy it here and sell it at 60 or 70 bucks for that t-shirt. Okay, so that's kind of the way I would see this for Cardano. You can make money here. If you want to say that that's a head and shoulders, it's an ugly one. It might work, it might not. But nonetheless, if you do a line here, just like we did one here, right? Same idea. It can break that neckline, then we're going to here easily. The height of this would be perfectly that target. So I do see that happening, perhaps, but I got to draw that line first so I can remember to check it later. Okay, so if we can cross that red line, we're going to the next red line basically automatically with a slight pause along the way at that black line. And who knows what will happen at that point. If it can break above, it can continue even more. If it can't break above, it'll come back. So that's just Cardano. Dot, which is sort of on the Link platform. Same setup. Don't even have to say anything. Minus this being different. And it broke above. So that could be the beginnings of an uptrend. I would have to favor with the bulls just because this does look like more of an upside down head and shoulders here. As long as we don't fall right now below here. If that does, then this does not count as an upside down head and shoulder. It becomes bearish again. But I do have to pick the favor is to the upside because of several things. And that's even without seeing the lower indicators, which are right now at a nice timing. On the 1 hour candles, I have a nice divergence here. Very beautiful trade to the upside. So far, this is my favorite trade from the ones we've looked at. Dot to go up. XRP got another trend line here. Beautiful established trend line. If we can break above that line. Now I gotta say, did we not talk about Ripple last week where I drew this trade? So the level here, it was at that moment when we were looking at it. Today is the 21st, so it was the 14th. Okay, so there's the 14th when we called this trade. I just moved it over to the right so that it's not in the way. So from there, we said that it will go down to here. And it basically did perfectly hit that level. We also had these two targets that I had drawn in. And how I had drawn them in was showing that you can add an indicator. And when you click on indicator, you go volume profile and visible range. And it gives you these bars on the right of the screen. And you can change those settings with here. It says VPVR. I just changed the settings from 30% to 50% to make it stand out more. And I also changed the inputs from 24 to 48. And what that did, it enabled me to draw in. You can see where I have this line here was based on that. This one at that time, depending on how many candles I show on the chart, it'll build it there, whatever is the most volume. And I also built that here because I noticed that peak here that caught my eye. So I put that one in manually. I put this one in more with the help of this scan, this VPVR volume profile, which I'm going to delete. So we called that, and people thought I was nuts because Ripple was going through the roof, right? $2, and they're like, "Rob, is it going to $4?" I'm like, "Hell no!" And some people thought I was nuts, but the technicals said no, and I had the intuition to call it from $1.77 that it will go down to $1.45. I said within 24 hours. So it took 3 days to go down to $1.10 and bounce almost nicely off of this range here. Okay, so how we try to do this is it trades here, shoots up, trades here, shoots down, kind of thing. So we were bang on. It dropped a little bit more than a day later. From the 14th to the 16th, it hit our target. Sorry, it took 48 hours. But within the third day, it hit all the way down to $1.10, which I usually draw a twin trade. But I felt I would get backlash if people said that Ripple's not going from $2 to $3. I said it's going to go from $2 down to from $1.77 down to $1.45, and it actually hit $1.15, $1.10, $1.11 briefly. But there's a reason why I put those lines in there to give myself an idea where I can see the potential target. So this is important to know. And the indicators, you can see for yourself what we saw at that time here was this was starting to cross down. We were elevated in high territory here. RSI was kind of high. What did RSI do? Went from overbought to oversold territory. Stochastic went from overbought to oversold territory. And MACD continued dropping, gave me no reason to change my path. If you had a stop loss, congratulations. You just locked in your break even and you didn't touch it. You wake up a week later for 1 hour presentation with Ed and you can now exit your position. But this isn't the advice. This is just for education purposes, how to use a stop loss to manually modify it and keep modifying it. You could potentially still be in this trade if Ripple were to continue lower. At the end of the day, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can say about Ripple, good and bad. I'm not going to get into the fundamentals. So that was a great trade we did last week. I believe I said that was my favorite one for the week. So far, I believe DOT is my favorite one to go up. And I don't know how we're doing for time. Is Alex here? Let's look at Dogecoin. Let's see here. Let me pull up the chat. So we got yeah, so I got so many coins because what I've done is I made myself a list of what I did. I just went to CoinGecko, right? And I pulled up I put here crypto market cap based in order of biggest coins to smallest. I should update it once a month because it'll obviously change, right? So I'm just going down the list of probably you guys know about it and have heard about it and have questions about it. I know there's a few others mentioned, so I'll try to cover those too. But Dogecoin is a hot topic. You can see it hit a top. It hit that again and again and again. So 3 times it called the top based on just looking at the prior one. And we can see some trend here. We've broken below now, so that's not looking good. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. But before I do, just know that this is terrible shape. Because if I put that here, it's kind of on track to what it's supposed to be doing. Okay, it shouldn't surprise anyone. And if we can call this peak here taller, which the wick does not count, that's why I ignore the wick. So let's actually make candles visible. All right, so if we ignore the wick, like I often tell people, then just the body, this does count as a head and shoulders. If you use the wick, it does not. So even if we were to go up here for a bit, as long as we stay below that, that's still a head and shoulders. So long term, you're gonna have to be very, very careful. I do see that we need to go up first to make that shoulder. So if I look at the lower indicator, chances are it's going to go up next and then down to help agree with that to be formed. Right? So you can see we're too low. It's going to go up and down. That could easily form our right shoulder. So I'm able to call stuff even before it's finished being drawn for opportunities extra early, although that is higher risk. You're supposed to wait until it's confirmed below the neckline before you go ahead and sell when the institutions are selling with heavy money. So it becomes more of a self-fulfilling prophecy. When I do it earlier, the earlier I do it, the more riskier it is. So caution is advised. But here we can see this trend line. And if I were to replicate that here, we can see it can still drop. Okay, so a little bit. Dogecoin. Aren't they printing like millions of them a day? So, but we did call it. Actually, I was the one that said in this crypto community back in what was it like a week before Elon Musk did his first tweet about Dogecoin. I said, don't rule it out because it's a cute coin, and a lot of girls like cute coins, and guys even will say, oh, they like animals. So, don't rule it out if one celebrity tweets about it. Literally 5 days later, Elon Musk tweets about it for the first time. I think that was the late January, early February. So yeah, definitely you got to pay attention what's happening. And we talk a lot about early stuff happening here. I see a lot of people posting about other things we mentioned from years ago. So it's now materializing. So it's definitely good to, uh, surround yourself with people that have been in the space for a while.